where did this start for you?
I think I wanted to make something after coming off the heels of my last short. It was kind of like very big in scope. It was a period piece that took place like 17,000 years in the past, and there was these big sets, and we were in a cave, and a lot of production design, and I wanted to kind of just pare it all down and make something naturalistic. And I remember reading this book written by Jim Carrey called Memories and Misinformation, and it was his recounting of the events that happened in 2018 in the state of Hawaii, where I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was like this text message that came out to the residents of Hawaii that was basically like, it was like ballistic missile inbound, seek shelter. So for 30 minutes, the residents and the people that were in Hawaii thought that their impending doom was upon them. And I was like, well, that's interesting. What would I do if I was in that situation? And it kind of just started the wheels turning. And then kind of just reverse engineered that. My good friend Herman, who was actually the lead actor in my last short, The Traveler, I kind of wanted to write something that him and my other good friend Fiona, who is not, unfortunately she's not able to be with us tonight, but I wanted to put them together in a movie because we had been talking about it for so long. So that was kind of the catalyst.
Cool. And I wanted to, Herman, I'll ask you. There are a number of very emotionally intense scenes in this. What was that like on set between the two of you guys? Was there a lot of intention giving from the director? Was it something that you kind of sequestered yourself and worked on internally?
Yeah, no, I think it's an element of both. So in terms of what Drew is doing, was creating a beautiful environment for me, for the crew as well. So when there was like a specific, super intimate, my character on its own, and it was really important that Drew was like, hey, let me set the tone for everybody in here, and let's bring it down. And so it was kind of like everybody's communal energy was feeding into that space. And for me, then I also have my process as well for building the character out and the subconscious and imagination and going really deep with that. And Drew has full respect for me on that. So, I have my space for what I need to do. And there's just this beautiful relationship that we have. And there's a lot of respect.
Oh, that's great.
And
Herman's one of like the most talented people I know, especially in the way of being able to tap into his emotions. It's kind of incredible. It's kind of your superpower. But just here's a little anecdote about one of the scenes that happened on set. During the opening scene, when the character's kind of like going through Instagram and kind of torturing himself by looking at those photos of his ex. I don't know if you guys have been there, but I've definitely been there. And there was a moment where, in a scene like that, like I definitely like to keep a tone of like, okay, I'm all for like joking around, but like let's kind of respect Herman's process to where we're not joking as much maybe in that scene, and maybe it's a closed off set. And there's this moment where we're filming the close-ups of Herman, and I look at what's on his phone, and he's some of this stuff was written from real life, and Herman happened to be going through a breakup, a big breakup, maybe about a year after when we were filming it. A year prior, he was kind of going through that breakup, and I look on the phone, and he's actually pulling from real life and truly torturing himself. And I was like, well, that's why it felt so real. He didn't tell me he was going to do that.
No.
But that's just kind of like, I guess part of his process is just trying to make it as real and as connected to his own emotions as possible.
Okay. And I did have a question. So the film starts out with a quote from Charles Bukowski, and then also kind of in the climax, there's more prose in there. As the writer and a director, how does poetry work with film for you? There
It's a
must
good
be
question.
an interest there.
Damn,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I think that what sort of excited me most about this premise, because on the surface you're like, okay, two people kind of deal with the end of the world. We've seen that before. But the thing that interested me the most was sort of that poetic approach to it, rather than the, deep impact Elijah Wood, like everyone's panicking, super action, like lots of VFX.
Right.
I kind of thought that it would be more interesting to, again, make it naturalistic. I just imagined it on a roof. I don't know why, but I'm like, if I knew that something like this was happening and there was really nowhere else to go, like, you're going to get stuck in traffic in LA. Like, what are you going to do? Go to a parking garage? I was like, I just kept imagining. I was like, I would end up on a roof. I don't know why, just kind of embracing it. And yeah, the poetry element was kind of always there, intertwined in the idea. And that poem that he's reading isn't word for word a poem that I wrote in 6th grade, but it was inspired by a poem that I wrote in 6th grade.
Okay.
So there was some lines there that I kind of took.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And the last question I have, but I want to ask each of you individually. What's something you learned during this project about filmmaking, about yourself as an artist? What's something that was, you have the final piece at the end, which is always important, but then there's always something personal you take away from it as well, from the process.
Yeah, sure. I think there's, for me, it was really two things. So first would be, I get to witness this man work, and I have on other projects as well. The prep that this guy does is like ridiculous, relentless, specific. And so getting to see that process of going, wow, he is really prepped and I feel safe. I can ask him any question about what's going to happen tomorrow. I can ask him questions about my character. I can come to him with ideas that I have. We can collaborate, and he's always under the impression that best idea wins, right? So that element of safety, because I think that's important for like the director as the captain of the ship. So there needs to be that element of I can come to you, and same, he can come to me. And what I've learned in that process is, from that side, is that kind of prep sets you up for the surprise that's going to happen. Because everybody here with filmmaking knows, like, those big surprises are going to happen. It's just how it's going to go.
Yeah, of course.
So you're then setting yourself up for that, being in that position to pivot or to surrender to that surprise and incorporate it and almost embrace it rather than let it derail you. But I feel like that happens with the prep, and it also allows then for that time when you are on set and we're knocking out shots, if it happens to go that way, well, let's play. We got what we need. Let's see where stuff's happening. And for me then as an actor as well, it's like, oh shit, let's keep it going. Let's try some shit. I got something. Okay, try, boom, 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 and then you get in the edit and you're like, oh, that was it.
Right.
And the last part would be working with your friends. Like, Drew is one of my best friends. Fiona is one of my best friends. I met her in an audition in London in 2011.
Okay.
You know, the crew that Drew assembled, like, we have either worked with these people together, and we also, like, love spending time with them. So it's like, all right, you're going to work 12 hours a day, awesome, and the pre-production and post-production, but also, like, I genuinely like you.
Yeah,
You know, that's
a blessing.
yeah, you're so
I'm
you're,
privileged.
you're doing the thing you love doing most in the world, creating, and you're doing it with people that's your tribe.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That is the best. And for you?
Yeah, what did I learn on this one? I guess the first lesson would be try not to shoot a scene that takes place during magic hour. Because then you have to shoot it over 3 days. No, that I'm just kind of being facetious there, but
No, that is really important. You do learn those technical things.
it was a challenge
over
for
time.
sure.
Yeah.
But I think this is a lesson that I probably have already known, but it was definitely reinforced, was just the importance of casting, and just trusting that when you get the right actors for a role, your job as a director is really pretty, it's so much easier. And yeah, so really just that was reinforced with Herman and Fiona. I mean, both of them together were incredible for unique ways. I wish Fiona could be here tonight, but she's just an incredible human being as well as Herman. But you put them together, and it just felt like the years of history that they had was there, and that's hard to replicate. But yeah, just everything Herman said. Working with your friends is like, it's such a blessing when you can do it and it works well. It makes all of the prep and all of the hours and the edit like so much. It just makes it all worth it, because it's the experience that you were able to cultivate while you're shooting. I think kind of just bleeds into everything.
Yeah. Well said. Anybody? Any questions from the audience? Okay, we got a question there. Go ahead.
So not only were you shooting Magic Hour, you also were shooting it on a rooftop. What logistically, how was that?
Good question. We had a couple issues. One of which I'm thinking of was the neighbor that was trying to put her baby down to sleep, which we had like talked to, and we're like, we're gonna be shooting at specifically, I forget what time it was like 5:45 was when we were gonna roll the cameras, but I guess I didn't prep her that we were gonna be like moving C-stands like about an hour before that. And so she had like planned to put her baby down at a certain time, and she comes up, God bless her, like she was so sweet. She was frustrated, but she was sweet. So like having to kind of like navigate that, and then, you know, navigate the fact that an AC unit would come on in the middle of a monologue, and there's no way to turn it off. And so we would Fernie pad it, and then we'd go to another part of the script. So it was just like, okay, we got that section yesterday. Okay, well, what can we get here? And, you know, we would have issues like our gaffer forgot the silk one day and had to go back to our HQ and pick up the silk, and then he brings it back and the silk's not in the bag. He had taken it out. So we end up losing like an hour, which like it's like, I was losing my mind. But like, you know, your job as a director is to like, even when things are super stressful, you have to just keep it together, and you can't really like get mad. You just have to find something else to do and shoot. So yeah, it definitely came with its struggles for sure.
Any other questions? All right, well that is the filmmakers.
Thank you guys.
From the last night. Thank you.